Happy Self Love Sunday. I am Moe Sass, the host of Self Love Sundays with Sass. I am a certified life coach who basically helps people better their best, right? Because we all get to better their best. I really consider myself an aide in the village that walks alongside of folks with their journeys to whether it's to better their best in terms of career, relationships, what of all kinds, right? Whether we're talking about a significant other, a partner, parenting, friendships, right? Financial stability, you name it, we can walk through it. We all get to better our best. You know, when people think of coming to a life coach, they always think, "Oh, what's wrong with me?" Nothing has to be wrong, but we all get to better our best. So, if for those of you who are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope that you sit back, relax, enjoy the content. This is where we come every single Sunday to talk about all the things, all the things that could potentially be in our way, all the things that can help us get to our next point in life. So I hope that you enjoy. And for those of you who are interested in life coaching with me, you can reach out to me at info at moesass.com. And that's MOESASS, all is in Sam.com. So today I wanted to come and talk to you about what is it time to let go of? So I'm just going to give you guys briefly a little bit of what happened this week with me. When I come and talk on these beautiful Sundays, sometimes I'm talking about me. Lots of times I'm talking about things I've worked through with my clients. I love my clients dearly, but they are really the catalyst into these discussions as I come and talk to you. So it's about what's in the way. What do we need to let go of? So I'm going to tell you how we got here, right? So there was a few things that have been taking place in my life, right? Things have been good. And that's the other thing too. I want to tell you, if things are good in your life, it is okay to say that. It's not, you don't say it in a braggadocious way, but it's good to be thankful for all the things that's going on in your life, right? So I'm actually in a really good space. Like, I'm like, okay, things are really, really good, in my life in terms of my career, in terms of, just things in general. My love life is on point. My soul tribe, my accountability partners, that I have in my life. And again, I describe accountability partners as people who hold you high. Right? Because I have friends that ride with my bull, and I've said this in many videos before. And if you haven't checked out my past content, please go to my YouTube channel, Moe Sass, MOESASS again, and check those out. But my accountability partners hold me high, right? My friends, they ride wrong with my bull. They tell me, I'm right, even when sometimes I'm probably not. But my accountability partners, they hold me high. They talk to me in terms of, listen, you said this was going to be your goal. You said this is what you're going to do. Then why are you watching TV? Why are you doing everything but what you're supposed to do? So that's why I'm saying everything is going good in terms of that. I'm on my journey of bettering my best, right? But there was one thing that was standing in I felt like that was kind of in the way of things, and just not where I wanted to be. And that was in my household with my kids, right? Because I'm like, listen, everything else going good, but they don't want to help clean up. Listen, kids are kids. And my kids are not babies, so I will preference that. I'm talking about the 21, 19, and 16. So things were not like really going right in the house with them. They weren't really helping out in terms of like cleaning. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've never asked my kids for money to contribute towards the household. I just didn't. I really wanted them to work to save their money, honestly, to move out. Let me say it, okay? It's time for you to move out. So I really wasn't asking them for money or anything, but I just noticed that more and more as I started to evolve and change into my new ways of being, that I don't want to say they're taking advantage of it, because before I was a hard mom. So let's just say that. So just to give you a little context, I'm a tough love mom, former military, former army. I was tough. So basically I was dictating what they were going to do. But as I grew and evolved into who I am now, I'm just really not there anymore. I'm not about yelling and screaming in my house. I'm not going to do it. My house has to be, and it is, a place of peace. Okay, so if you're going to be in here, you're about something positive, you're uplifting, and we're all contributing in different ways in terms of like helping me clean up and stuff like that. And truthfully, my philosophy is I shouldn't be cleaning, anything but my room, because at the end of the day, I pay for everything so you guys can clean. So that was just some of the things that was going on. They just really wasn't stepping up to the plate. I noticed one of my daughters really had an attitude, and truthfully, so what I've done as a part of my growth is I've had conversation with my kids about apologizing to them from things in the past, and when I didn't know any better, right? So when I didn't know better, I didn't do better, but now that I know better, I do better. So I always say, like, listen, you're not going, you, my children, my friends, I don't care who it is, do not get to hold me to who I used to be yesterday. Let me say this again. Once I've made amends, once I've asked for forgiveness, once I've forgiven myself and also, talk to God about it and have a conversation about it, I get to move forward in my life. I get to move forward in my life. So that means that the past no longer exists, and no one gets to hold me prisoner to that. And I make it very clear with my kids, I will not allow you to hold me to who I used to be or what I used to. I'm not there no more. So if you are upset about something and something is bothering you, we can have a conversation about it. And I'm a very open mom. So if you feel like we need to have a third party, I have therapists on speed dial. I have other life coaches on speed dial. If we need to do that, then let's do that. But what you will not do is walk around this house with an attitude about something that happened 4 or 5 years ago. Not going to be able to do it with you, okay? Because we get to have a conversation about it. So what I did was I decided to have a family meeting. I'm like, forget this, because I'm not going to, I found myself, because this is going to happen and this is why I'm explaining this to you. I found myself at a pivotal point where I could feel my old ways of being coming back up, like that being upset, just like being really pissed off. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I've had this conversation. I told you what I expect of you and nobody's doing what they're supposed to do. I'm coming down in the morning to get my coffee in the kitchen and there's dishes and stuff everywhere. So I'm like, I'm livid. So I said, you know what? Call a family meeting. I took a time out. I'm going to tell you that I practice my power of pause and power of choice. And I've talked about that before. Practicing the power of pause, taking a second, gathering myself so that I'm speaking my truth and not my trauma. And we'll talk about that and what that really means in another video. Because this is something I also teach women how to do, how to speak their truth and not just be yelling and screaming, because that's truthfully your trauma. So, and after practicing the power of pause, I practice my power of choice. What is it that I'm going to talk to them and ask them about? So we had a family meeting where, I asked them some very intentional questions about, the ways of being and how they're being in the home. And then I really laid down, the law, so to speak. In other words, I let them know, like, if to be in here, you're going to be positive, uplifting, your characteristics, because that's what matters in life. Your character, right? We're a team. We're going to contribute, or you get to go elsewhere. They're grown now, right? So you have a choice. You get to contribute. You get to be positive, uplifting, right? We get to see each other win. We don't bicker with one another. The world is going to tear us down enough. We're not going to tear each other down in this household, okay? So just having that conversation of what my true expectations were of them. Because what I'm going to tell you is, and why this story is so important, is when you are on a trajectory of your higher self and your higher consciousness, and you are operating out of your highest frequency of love, the negative entity and or the devil, whatever you want to call it, will attack your heart. They will use the things that's closest to you to try to get to you. So when I had that conversation with my kids, what I was letting go of was the fact that I am not going to battle with the old me anymore. I'm going to say to them, and I'm going to let the negative entity that is a part of this universe know that you will not use my kids to get to me. You will not. And I said it out loud. And the thing about me as a communicator, my kids knew. They understood what I was saying. And I told them why I'm speaking it out loud. I will always, even as I grew up, I would always say out loud, like, you will not break me. You will not break me. Listen, I remember one time I got into it with my mother and I was like, you will not break me. Right? Like, these negative spirits, these negative entities, you will not. And in here and in this household, we will be positive and uplifting. And that's not, and I don't believe in false positivities. So in other words, our intention is to be positive. Our intention is to be limitless. Our intention is to speak abundance. Our intention is to speak life. Our intention is to help one another out. And yes, they do now, and they did on Friday, have to start contributing to their bills. Okay? Like, I literally changed the game. And the reason being is because, sometimes you need to let the devil know, listen, you will not use these people, this environment, or this thing to get to me. Is not going to happen. Okay? Speak into it. And it also let my kids know too that sometimes like negative entities will use you to get to somebody. And I'm not saying my children are the devil. Let me tell you something right now. Let's get that clear, because I know I'm speaking to a broad, beautiful audience and we can get things misconstrued. No. But what I'm saying is sometimes their attitudes and stuff like that, it will bother me. And I've really, really felt like I can feel it in my spirit that it was like nothing else is really getting to me. So what can I use? And so sometimes the enemy will attack your spouse, your children, people in your job, just to get to you. Especially if you start vibrating high, honey, they don't see you happy. Walking around here smiling. Who do you think you are to be happy? But let me tell you something. You get to make that choice to make that change. And so I made a conscious effort to say, no, I'm not going to battle between the old and the new me. The old me does not exist anymore in certain terms, right? So in terms of when I say the old me doesn't exist in certain terms, I'm talking about that negativity, that anger, that old spirit of like, you know what, I'm going to punch somebody in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's not where I am anymore. That's not what I'm about anymore. I'm vibing high. So what I mean is, and I'm going to talk about 5 things to let go of. So what I mean by that is letting go of low energy thoughts and behavior. All that low vibrational anger, resentment, revenge, let it go. It's really low vibrational, low energy, and it will keep you in that place. Having thoughts of forgiveness makes you strong. But by having those low vibrational thoughts, they keep you weak. It's really, really weak to walk around being angry and resentful and revengeful. That's weak. It takes a strong person to walk around with thoughts of forgiveness. And I'm going to tell you about forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean that I forgive the person that has wronged me and I'm like, oh, let's go hang out tomorrow. Don't get it twisted. That is not what I mean by that. But what I mean by that is, I understand some things now that I'm older. And forgiveness is huge. And it's really not just for them. It's breaking me free and out of my prison. Because let me tell you something. So with holding on to, sometimes we're holding on to things about other people and they've moved on and they've changed. Even with my parents, I had to work on that forgiveness. Holding my mother to something when I was 14. Well, guess what? She's not the same person from when I was 14 anymore. So, I get to work on that. I will say my parents are very different parents than I am. So, I'm not going to have no conversation with my mother about any of that stuff, child, please. But my kids, I'm a little bit different where they can have conversations. We can walk through it and talk through it. And the only thing I can do is ask them to forgive me for what I didn't know, right? And then I get to move forward. But my kids don't get to hold me to who I used to be, and I don't get to hold my parents for who they used to be, right? So that's what I'm talking about in terms of walking around with a spirit of forgiveness. It takes a strong person, but here's the thing, you are releasing yourself. Understand that when you forgive, you are releasing yourself because you're holding on. They moved on. How about that? Let it go. Something else I want to talk about, letting go of. Number 2, letting go of fear-based mentality. And when you think, anytime you're in a spirit of lack, you're in your comfort zone, you're just plain out, being fearful. That's when you bring that negative entity on the scene. Because see, fear holds you back and holds you down. And I'm not saying that we won't ever feel fear, but when you feel it, understand that it's there, but do it scared. Take that leap of faith into that next thing that you want to do. Take that leap of faith into that love and relationship. Allow love to come in. Stop confusing the universe saying, oh, I desire to have love. And A, don't love yourself. B, don't allow someone else to love on you. That's very confusing. And most times you're self-sabotaging the crap out of yourself when you do that. Allow it in by loving yourself enough to know that you need to let go of some things. Loving yourself enough to know that maybe if you're having trouble doing it, that you need to reach out to a life coach. Hello, info@moesass.com. Okay, loving yourself to know that if it's deeper than a life coach, that I need to hire a therapist. And if you need any sort of recommendations for that, reach out to me and I give you that too. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, let go of your need to be right. I'm gonna need you to ask yourself, do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? Do I want to be right or do I want to be in a relationship? Do I want to be right or do I want to have friendships in my life? Do I want to be right or do I want to be on this job and not be fired? Okay, all right. Like, or if you're an entrepreneur, do I want to be right or do I want to have people working for me? There's a level of compromise to everything. But I'm going to tell you right now, for all my ladies who desire to be married, and all my fellas that, you know, whether you desire to be married or you married, listen, you have to ask yourself, do I want to be right or do I want to be in this relationship? Because you can be right by yourself. I'm going to say that again. You can be right by yourself. Letting go of that need to be right. And understand that we all come from different walks of life. Every time we walk into a different relationship, you're walking in with 40, if you're in your 40s, 40 plus years of who you have always been. And they are walking in, whether 40, 50 years of who they've always been. So it's that letting go of that need to be right. Really actively listening. And I'm speaking from a place of the reason why I'm on my way to being married is because I learned to let go of that. And I worked on that, which means I worked on my healing, which means I worked on my triggers and my traumas because they are mine, honey. And I've learned to speak my truth and not my trauma. And what that looks like is when he does something that triggers me, instead of yelling and screaming and going crazy, I take a moment and a second and practice my power of pause and then choosing my words and say, you know what, babe, when you said this to me, it made me feel hurt. It really made me feel hurt because it reminded me of a time when X, Y, and Z happened. And I know that that's my trigger and that's my trauma and it doesn't belong to you and I'm still working on that. However, I really need for you not to do that or say that to me anymore, right? That's speaking your truth instead of like, let me tell you something, what you never going to do and what you not going to do, blah, 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 and they don't even hear you. So we'll get to walk through that, ladies, because I really want to keep going so I don't lose time. Letting go of your, let it go of identifying yourself based on your achievements. People do this all the time. You are not what you do. You are not what you do. You are not what you achieved. And that's why a lot of times people feel depressed. Because if they're not achieving some goal or if they can't tell people the thing that they've achieved or what they do, I'm Dr. So-and-so, which is, let me tell you something, don't get it twisted. There's nothing wrong with a nice humble brag. I'm not saying that. But if it's attached to your identity, most times that's why you're feeling all this sadness. Let go of that. Stop identifying yourself by your achievements. Next, let go of your reputation. It doesn't belong to you. I'm going to tell you something. I'm just going to say it. And I don't know if my girlfriend watching this and she know who this is and she knows I love her, but I'm just going to tell this quick story. I have a friend who was doing this volunteering thing and I thought it was beautiful. She headed up, she speeded up and it was cool, right? But this year she just really didn't want to do it anymore. You know, her life is changing. She has her children are growing up and they're very active and they're keeping busy. And they reached out to her because they didn't get any more volunteers. And instead of using her power of no, instead of loving herself enough to understand that you get to not do this again if you don't want to, instead of loving herself enough to say, why am I going to put this extra stress and anxiety and pressure on myself? She decides to do it. But when she does it, let me tell you something, honey, I pull up because she needed help. And I say, okay, me and my son are going to come. I pull up and she's in the state of just rah. She's yelling at her daughter. Didn't I tell you? Like, and she doesn't realize it. So it's not intentional. And this is what I'm saying. Subconsciously, when we do things, when we don't use our no, when we say yes and we really want to say no, this is what happens. I pull up, and I'm an empath. So I feel all that energy of, ugh. And she's like, this and that, pop, this, pop, pop. And even while we were doing it, she was in such a state of anger that she didn't even realize that, all that energy was just pushing in the air. All because of her reputation, because my name was attached to it, because I started it. Never even realizing that I don't care whether you start it, finish it, or whatever. People will always have something to say about you. That's why you have to love yourself enough to know to not care. Your reputation is based upon what somebody else thinks and feels about you. Why in the world are you operating out of that? Let it go. Let it go so you can grow. Love yourself enough to say that I get to change. I get to not be who I used to be. I get to not do the things that I used to do. I get to not go around the old environments that I was around before. You get to do that. And lastly, let go of your need to feel superior. And I laugh a little bit in this chuckle because it's so real. I see it every day. You are not better than anyone. You're not. I don't care what you have. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care that, you own this or own that, or you have this and have that. Let me explain something to you. Be very, very clear. You are not better than anyone. You're just not. We all bleed the same. And we all, in a flip of a switch, and if COVID hasn't taught you that, then we need to sit on the couch and have a conversation. info@moesass.com. And if you want to reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, is Life Coaching with Sass, to let you know that in the flip of a switch, everything that you have can be stripped away from you. That's why you have to lead with love. That's why if you are flying high, your true role in this world is to bring other people with you. Your true role is to get into your purpose. Because when you are on purpose, when you are vibrating from that higher consciousness in this world, you'll know that you're not better than anyone. I don't care how much I sit in front of you and talk. I don't care how much I sit in front of you and I do all these things. I don't care how I vibe high, this, that, and the third. It doesn't matter. Okay? I am still no better than any person that I come across. We all get to better our best, and we all are walking on this journey of healing. We are all walking along this journey of, building ourselves up. So we don't get to break others down by feeling superior and over them. Okay? So we get to let go of low energy thoughts. We get to let go of fear-based mentality. We get to let go of our need to be right. We get to let go of identifying ourselves based on our achievements. We get to let go of our reputation because it really doesn't even belong to us. And we get to let go of the need to feel superior. And we get to heal ourselves. We get to love ourselves. We get to better our best every single day. And I hope that you continue to do so. I love you for listening today. Again, if you want to reach out to me, it's info@moesass.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram at Life Coaching With, and that's just a W, Sass, S-A-S-S. Next Sunday, I won't be here. I'm going on vacation with my baby. I can't wait. So I will not be doing a video because that's one of the things that I get to learn on, which is detaching from working. I do work a lot. But it's my purpose, so I love that. And when you're in your purpose, baby, it's never work. It's all love. And I still get to concentrate on my future husband, okay? And step back from next Sunday. So I love you, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week. And I will talk to you 2 Sundays from now. Have a great day.